Very good morning to you, our viewers. Welcome to Eat. This is Thursday, and indeed it is the breakfast show. When you see these faces, you know that it's about to go down in terms of politics, policy, and everything related to economics of this country. My name is Sharon Kalimbola. On the other chair, as usual, is Patrick Soko. Good morning.
Good morning, madam. Just like
Suma. I've used this jacket on the news, though. You know that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Recall that news bulletin.
You recall that news bulletin, eh? I think you need to put it in your archives so that you should tell at some point, say, this is my thing, you know?
I think I need to find that bulletin.
All right. To you, the viewers, welcome to Eat. We are just getting started. A bit late, though, but we will definitely catch up on all the important segments that we have on this show. For now, let's look at the Health Corner.
Exactly.
Hi, good morning and welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakobia Namfaya. So this week we are talking about depression, and yesterday we talked about some of the signs and symptoms of depression. We say that people who are depressed, they might have feelings of sadness or depressed mood for about 2 weeks or more, and they might also have other symptoms such as loss of interest in activities that they used to enjoy before, such as hobbies, that they used to like to do, or just any activities at home that they used to do that they are not doing anymore. Then they might also have other symptoms of sleeping too much or not sleeping enough, or overeating or not eating enough. Then they might also have fatigue or feelings of tiredness. They might have low concentration at school or at work, and also have slow thinking when it comes to their daily activities. So today we'll talk about the treatment or the diagnosis and treatment of depression. How is it diagnosed in the hospital and how is it treated? So when it comes to diagnosis, usually it's there are several questionnaires that are used to be able to assess if you are going through depression or not. So these questionnaires will be able to tell whether you have depression or you have some other kind of mood disorder, because there are other mood disorders like bipolar that somebody might have. So it's not just depression that is the only mood disorder. No, they might have other mood disorders like bipolar, or they might have anxiety disorders or some phobias that they might have. So you'll be able to, the doctor will be able to ask you certain questions, and there are some guides that are used to ask these questions so that they can be able to tell whether it's just a phobia or whether it's just another mood disorder that you might be experiencing. Then they might also do some tests to rule out other medical conditions. So in case you have another illness that might be causing you to be depressed, so they might decide to do certain blood tests and other tests that can be able to rule out other medical illnesses that you might be experiencing. The other thing is that when it comes to the treatment, you need to be started on some medications that we call antidepressants. So these medications, they help to reduce certain neurotransmitters or certain chemicals in the brain or in the body that can help to regulate your depressed mood or the depression that you're going through. So these are called antidepressants, and they will help you in your thinking, in the way that your body responds to certain things. So there are several classes of these neurotransmitters, and there are different types, and so your doctor will be able to decide on which one is best for you, and depending on whether you have other medical conditions as well, they might also decide to give you certain types of neurotransmitters and other medications. So discuss with your doctor what medication they are putting you on, how it's going to help you, so that you really understand what medications you are getting from the hospital. But it's good to know that there are several medications that can be used to treat depression if you have depression. So make sure that you go to the hospital and get help so that they can be able to assess whether you need medication or they can do other types of treatment options. So the other options that are there are psychotherapy. So under psychotherapy, we have cognitive therapy, behavior therapy. So these are some therapy sessions that you might be going through with a counselor or a doctor that might help to change the way that you think, the way that you look at the world, because it might just be maybe as a result of a trauma that you might have. So they might be able to walk through the process with you of trying to forget about the trauma or go through the trauma and just help you to get over it. So if you're having some other issues that might be causing you to have depression, like having other illnesses like stroke, they might be able to guide you on how you handle such situations so that you can come out of the depression that you are having. So apart from the cognitive therapy, they might have behavior therapy. So they might help you to form certain behaviors or certain habits that can help to overcome the depression that you're going through. So they might encourage you to do certain things maybe that you used to like to do before, or adopt new hobbies or new habits that can assist you to come out of depression and just assist you to live a better life overall. So those are some of the therapies that are available for people who might be going through depression. So cognitive therapy, behavior therapy, all these are ways that they can be used to help people who have depression. So if you have depression, do not hesitate to see a doctor or a counselor that can is trained to handle such situations, or trained to handle patients who have psychiatric disorders or mental disorders or mood disorders, so that you get the best help, because it's not everybody that can be able to handle people who have mood disorders or mental health disorders. So you need to be able to know that they are certified for this job and they are qualified for this job. So go to people who are trained, who are professional, and who know exactly what they're doing and how to help you so that you get the best help possible. So if you know somebody who has depression, you know somebody who is having suicidal thoughts or suicidal ideations, you know somebody that maybe has tried to harm themselves in the past, it's important that you help them to get to sessions or to get to therapy, to see a doctor, and to even start medication if there is need for them to start medication. We need to be able to protect each other, look out for each other, and reduce the mental health conditions that are going around and people committing suicide. So we need to look out for others as well, our friends, our family members, so that we can all live healthy lives at the end, because our mental health is tied so much to our overall health. So without good mental health, we are not healthy at all. So we need to be able to protect our mental health and live a healthy life as much as possible. So tomorrow we'll talk about some of the complications of depression and how you can prevent yourself from getting depression, or if you already have depression, how you can prevent from having relapses of depression. So make sure you watch tomorrow again and invite your friends and family. If you missed any episodes, you can always watch my YouTube channel at Dr. Nakubianamfire, where you find all these and more other videos as well. So I'll see you tomorrow. Make sure you stay healthy, stay blessed, and take care of your family as well.
All right, that is Dr. Mufaya. We can safely say our resident doctor.
Exactly, our Camnet resident
our
doctor.
Camnet resident doctor. She always comes forth bringing us laws and medical topics that she wants us to at least try and understand, so that when we begin to experience certain situations, we're able to remember and say it could be this, and then we quickly seek medical attention from the professionals. Don't do self-prescription. It's always discouraged by
Yeah, you know, it is very important that you get abreast with the basics of diseases and how you can diagnose and understand them. It helps you take the right step to say, okay, I'm going there, I'm having these symptoms, I think it might be malaria, it might be what, but this program does help you to understand various aspects of diseases. And you know, they say that a wealth nation is
a healthy nation is a
wealth nation. Yeah,
yes.
so that's why we prioritize this segment, because we know that we have to contribute towards creating a good society that is health and vibrant. The one that we make sure that we continue to educate each other on health issues. This segment is also up for grabs in terms of sponsorship. In case you want to be our partner, you can partner with us on Camnet TV by supporting the program to continue. You can equally give us your advert to be playing on the health care. It's among the most watched segments on this program. So, and we do update it on our Facebook platforms or our socials in general. So let's get interacting, and this program is brought to you. In case you have topics that you think the doctor should tackle, you can just send us those messages via that number that we always put on the screen, or on our social media pages such as Facebook. You can send us that message via Messenger. Indeed.
Let's look at how the kwacha is faring against the major convertibles. So the Great British Pound is buying at 21 kwacha 69 ngwe and selling at 22 kwacha 11 ngwe. The United States dollars is at 17 kwacha 47 ngwe and selling at 17 kwacha 81 ngwe. The euro is at 19 kwacha 23 ngwe and selling at 19 kwacha 61 ngwe. The South African rand is depreciating comparing to our kwacha. It's at 0.95 ngwe and selling at 0.97 ngwe. At some point, Patrick was trading against 1 kwacha to 1 kwacha, something like that. It was a bit tricky for us. I remember complaining about this whole thing, but this, you know, sounds good to me.
Yeah, and for those who are in business, especially cross-border trade between Zambia and South Africa, it is actually a good indicator.
It sounds good to me.
Yeah, so it means that you can buy, as if you are using your kwacha. You can buy even better.
You can buy even better. You can buy and resell better. So that is how the kwacha is faring against the major competitors. Of course, the major one, which is the United States dollars, the kwacha has started depreciating. It appreciated rapidly at some point. I think that's just a week ago, but now it has started again going back to its 21, 22 kwacha threshold. We hope it doesn't go beyond that. However, we hope that the guys in the sector are putting in these fundamentals correctly, so that it shouldn't go beyond what is expected, because things just become too much.
Yeah, especially already that people are already burdened with the recent revision of electricity tariffs. It means that their pockets have been shrinking further. So these are the issues that we talk about. When the kwacha is performing better, even the economic fortunes are there, and in terms of the positive side. So let's make sure that we continue to work hard. Especially this is the baby for the central bank and the Central Statistics Office, as well as the Minister of Finance, in terms of just advising the executive on the right interventions to undertake to ensure that we maintain a stronger currency. However, when talking about a stronger currency, there has been an aspect of a strength as well as a strong currency. Now, when we have a strong currency, then it is good for business, especially that when we are trading in dollars, it is good. Now, there's been concern in terms of our traditional exports being copper. And we have not been doing very fine pertaining to the Konkola copper mine KCM. The government did indicate that this year they are likely to make progress in terms of making announcements to what are some of the outcomes on the discussion pertaining to reviving Konkola copper mines, as well as Mopani mines. Now, as these things continue to drag, however, the consequences are that we will continue to drag in terms of us making the most out of our exports, because copper is a traditional export and we do export more of it. And if Mopani is not performing as expected, it means that consequently we are affected as a country. Just like if KCM and Vedanta, the talks continue to drag, the government and Vedanta talks continue to drag pertaining to KCM, it means that the economic situation for Zambia will not likely to improve anytime soon. So we are just hoping that those announcements, as indicated by recently the Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, will be made probably this April, and we hope that we can be able to start moving in terms of the mining sector, because mining is an important economic sector for Zambia, and its good performance is important for us to make a meaningful progress in terms of us developing as a country. We have also seen that the issue of debt is also hindering the kwacha on the other side, because what is happening is that as the debt restructuring process continues to drag, it is undermining investor confidence, in that investors are being reluctant to invest their money, to say, is this country going to be safe? Is this country going to go into a debt crisis that it is going to fail to come out and lead to economic instability? So investors have been watching Zambia at a far range, and however, we did hear the Minister of Finance, Dr. Stumbeko Musokotwane, indicating that during the recent spring meetings, on G20 spring meetings, they did make a progress in terms of debt engagement. So now, Zambia is submitting its proposal on how it wants to manage the debt to its creditors. That's the recent press briefing the Minister of Finance had. So these are indicators that they are trying to do to make movements in terms of us resolving this debt. This debt is also critical for us to make sure that the local currency performs better, our bonds perform better on the international market, there on the capital markets, because the government also did indicate that the bonds haven't been performing as expected on account of the same protracted debt restructuring process. So we hope to gain traction between the month of April as well as May. We hope that we can make progress, because going further, we just hope that we do not experience load shedding again, as we are expected to start witnessing the decline in terms of the water levels at the Kariba Dam, so that it can now worsen our economic situation as a country. We just hope that things will also be stable in the energy sector there.
Indeed, you speak like you are a source, like you've been invited on this show. But like, are you trying to take over Dr. Chkwanda? Johnson Chkwanda, are you trying to take over? I'll tell him that's a kuno so-called Mpoka position. However, one of the stories that has been trending, this is day 3, is that the Patriotic Front, the largest opposition political party, has been threatened by the Registrar of Societies that it will be deregistered if they don't follow the laid down requirements according to the law. And one of the bone of contention there is that the Patriotic Front has failed to submit at least 10 office bearers, and it only has 3 according to the information on the table for the registrar. This, Patrick, has raised a lot of debate, a rate of concern from stakeholders, but generally the call from all the stakeholders is that the Patriotic Front needs to put its house in order in the 7 days ultimatum that they've been given. It's not even a political witch hunt, it's just about the law. How would they fail to do certain things that they are required to do, especially that they were in government? You know? They are supposed to know what they're supposed to do. Now, in a democratic country like Zambia, opposition political parties play an important role to the ruling party. But then if we start seeing these situations, there are consequences, of course. I think this is what the NGOCC also raised yesterday. They were concerned to say you cannot start deregistering parties in that it's a detriment to the growth of democracy, especially a political party that is as big as the Patriotic Front, you know. of course, they were cognizant of the fact that there are so many political parties, and the law should not favor anyone on pretext that it's small or big. It should be effortlessly clear and the same to everybody. But then it was just encouraging the Patriotic Front to ensure that they do due diligence in the 7 days ultimatum that they've been given. What's your take on that, Patrick?
You said it better. You know, you cannot avoid the law. The law is law is law. You know, and Zambia is governed by the rule of law, especially under President Hakainde Hichilema. He has affirmed that we shall govern this country by the rule of law. So if the law prescribes that each political party should conform to some of the specific guidelines, you just have to conform. So, you know, the point you raised is that the PF should put its house in order. Is vital. It's not about witch hunting or the government or whatever. It's about a statutory an institution that is mandated, Sharon, to govern the issues pertaining to political parties, following up on the people or organizations it is managing to say, are you doing the right things? So now, this has nothing to do with politics. If you are asking me, it has nothing to do with politics, but it has everything to do with the PF doing the right thing. They can equally write to them to say, okay, the problem we have with ABCD, why we are failing to do this and that. They can make sure that you know, the PF should have had its convention as of last month. Are you aware of that?
Yes, March.
But why they have continued to drag is a question most Zambians are asking. Because, look, this is one of Zambia's major opposition political party. And
it's the biggest.
It's the biggest.
And undeniably,
yes, undisputed biggest, because look at in the House, the numbers of members of parliament they have, they compete with the UPND.
Exactly.
Now, even at when we look at based on the elections for 2021, it tells you that they were second, and numbers don't lie.
No,
they are a big political party. So you expect big organizations, an organization that has been in government before, to do the right thing in terms of putting in place their house in order. Because, like you said earlier, democracy has to survive. This political party has to survive to make sure that Zambia's democracy is strengthened, because they are critical in terms of giving checks and balances to the UPND administration. Now, if they are deregistered, do you know what that means? It's chaos in the Zambian scenario. That would be chaos, because those members of parliament who have no legal backing to be in parliament, because they would not belong to any political party that established them. We may see a situation where we have a national by-election. Now, you know? Is that something that we desire as a country at the moment when we're trying to work on the economy? So
democracy is expensive.
It's expensive. So, but
can people do the right thing? So can people do the right thing in these offices so that we do away with these by-elections? Can the Patriotic Front do what they're supposed to do?
You know, even those clergymen who are, for example, visiting the former president Edgar Lungu, among the advice they should be giving these people, like those people who are coming from the PF, is that, hey, can you get organized? And can you hold your convention? You know, you have court cases in court. They can still follow Mausampa. They can still follow these other people. Say, hey, what's the issue? Let's resolve it outside the court. You know, I was talking to Professor Bizek Piri, who is a political scientist from the University of Zambia. He was saying that political parties cannot be strengthened in court.
No.
But they can be weakened in court, and that history has that. You've seen political parties that you and I, Sharon, usually cover the political desk. If you look at let's take for example, the NDC, the National Democratic Congress, when Chishimba Kambwiri and Akafumba were in court, how much ground they lost, you see? When Hari Kalaba of the Citizens First Party now, and when he was under the Democratic Party, look at how much time they lost, and how much membership, and how much the confidence of the people they lost when they opted to go the court process. So if you see UNIP and its court cases and pertaining to issues of the president, how much they have lost in terms of time and relevance in the political fraternity. it's costly. So at the end of the day, the better way to resolve political differences is by dialoguing and finding a common ground. It's simple to hold an election, a convention, but just the selfish motives do come in. Probably no wonder we see these leaders now differing, and as a result, we are now looking at this statement, Sharon, we're reading at pertaining to the registration of a political party being the PF.
It would be chaotic, and the women's movement are concerned to say this shouldn't be the case. However, Patrick, you also did a story yesterday where the Lusaka City Council and over 200 youths belonging to the Raising Youth Furniture Cooperative opposite Chifundo Market bordering Mandevu and Matero constituency fought running battles Tuesday night as the authority raided their premises to demolish an illegal structure at night. Youths belonging to the cooperative also, what were you trying to say here? All right, let's look at the story.
These are the traces of the battle between the Lusaka City Council, the Zambia Police, and the youths belonging to the Rising Youth Furniture Cooperative based at Chifundo Market, bordering Mandevu and Matelo constituencies. Tear gas and bullet cartridges are a reflection of how tense things were last night.
Take a move like, okay, tent chezere guys, because it is a very stick. Our intention was to find the information from them, but they came with an intention to beat us, of which tenzeri bepo na mawipo you're fighting a back. Balambo kutira matia gasi na wanatupasa 5 minutes to move. Nicha chala pika tuze ni vimfuna chichite banakamba chata kupasa 5 minutes mwambo yamba amene oyu na bakapokola bakanso banabwera mairo babwere daylight petiripo tonzi but tuze intention yawe nalengesa kuti afike na pali iyi opezeka kuti na veno tina lako opezeka kuti banabwera na ma live bullets banambo titira matia gasi benango wanamenyewa benango wanatenga ma TV ma fridge.
This is the road reserve land where the cooperative has been squatting, but they accuse Mochinga Ward 28 councillor Limo Kupa and other people unknown of selling it to a foreign investor, allegations the civic leader has denied.
But instead of a councillor Abuela Pano, but it's empowerment. A councillor Abuela Kunabotista destroyed.
They say this is the only place where they conduct their business to assist themselves and their families, thus questioning the relevance of government if it cannot engage them to protect their interest as indigenous citizens.
Who has collected the fridges? There was input in there that we are trading. We don't want to steal, no. We want to work. The president, His Excellency, has said everyone has to work. Therefore, we want people from the higher offices to come and address this. Please, we are begging from you. This land belongs to us. We are the remnant of this country. Why should people come from somewhere and everyone is silent? No one is talking from the government. Today, we are demanding that you come and address it.
They have complained that police caused the damage to their properties.
Police police nabakanzo ndebankala mongati apa na Ukraine masapota baba mwenye.
We really want to know from you. We are and yeah, I'm sure you can just see.
Lusaka City Council Acting Public Relations Manager Marston Monze says the operation was aimed at curtailing the illegality, as he confirmed that authorities confiscated some assorted items such as alcohol beverages, refrigerators, and a sewing machine.
And you may wish to know that this person had no legal document of operating as a bar, operating as a restaurant, right there. So that's why the Department of Planning at the Lusaka City Council decided that no, we move in and help him. So during the operation, we confiscated some things that we have kept at Lusaka City Council, and these items are here, and he can come over to retrieve them. But one thing that we should emphasize to him is that as he comes to retrieve them, he will be required to incur the cost that the council has incurred.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
acting leader of the opposition Patriotic Front, Given Lubinda, has requested the Lusaka High Court to declare that the decision of the Lusaka's Magistrate Court to preside over his corruption-related case violates his right to a fair trial. According to his petition filed before the Lusaka High Court, Mr. Lubinda alleges that sometime in March 2022, he was charged and arrested for 4 counts of being in possession of property suspected of being proceeds of crime contrary to Section 71 of the Forfeiture of Proceeds of Crime Act No. 19 of 2010 of the laws of Zambia by the Anti-Corruption Commission. According to his further submission, he states that on the 26th of April 2022, his criminal trial commenced and the state called 12 witnesses. Among those witnesses was a Mr. Friday Tembo, an investigative officer from the Anti-Corruption Commission. He states that during the cross-examination of the said witness, Mr. Tembo, an issue arose as to whether or not the prosecution witness recorded any statement from Jubin and petitioner. The prosecution witness responded in affirmative, adding that this led to his lawyers making an application for the prosecution witness to bring before court the following documents which are said to be in his custody and control. Among them, an ordinary statement recorded in 2019 from him, an ordinary statement recorded from a Mr. Zhu Weibin, a Chinese nation, and a warn and caution statement recorded from him. He submits that the lower court allowed the said application notwithstanding the prosecution witness, and the prosecution only tendered a warn and caution statement recorded in 2019 from him, an act contrary to the court's ruling. The opposition leader contends that when his lawyers raised the issue as to why the prosecution witness and the prosecution only tendered selective documents and not all, the court rendered guidance to the effect that the prosecution can do so when himself, Mr. Lubinda, is put on his defense and not at this stage. He argues that his ability to demonstrate and prove that he has no case to answer has been rendered handicapped given the fact that he is unable to test the veracity of the prosecution witness testimony. He is now seeking a declaration that the refusal by the prosecution to produce the document in question is against the Constitution of Zambia. He is also seeking a declaration that the decision of the court allowing the prosecution to only produce the said document when he is put on his defense is now unvoid. Mr. Lubinda wants the court to grant him an order directing that the prosecution avails the defense his ordinary statement recorded in 2019 from him. He further wants to be awarded damages for the breach of his right and any other reliefs the court might deem fit. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News. This morning, the subordinate court in Lusaka rejected admission into evidence documents indicating how former Defense Minister Geoffrey Mwamba engaged the Ministry of Defense to avail to him original copies of the letters he wrote in which he declared interest. This follows Mr. Mwamba's request to admit into evidence letters he wrote to the ministry requesting for the said documents and the response from the ministry in form of a letter indicating to him that the letter in question cannot be traced. The former Defense Minister Mwamba has been slapped with 24 counts, which is facing before the Lusaka's Magistrate Court, among them conflict of interest, money laundering. Among the 24, he is facing 8 counts of conflict of interest, 1 count of money laundering, and 15 counts of being in possession of property suspected of being proceeds of crime. The accused was recently found with a case to answer by the court and placed on his defense. This morning, Wednesday, the accused appeared for his continuation of defense. Mr. Mwamba told the Magistrate Court that he wrote a letter to the Ministry of Defense requesting for the said document in which he had declared interest, but the ministry responded and told him that the document in question could not be traced. However, the prosecution team from the Anti-Corruption Commission objected to his application and requested the court to dismiss, stating that Mr. Mwamba cannot admit into evidence the document that were earlier rejected by the court due to lack of proper foundation. In response to this objection, one of his defense counsel, Jonas Zimba, told the court that the objection by the state should be dismissed as it has no legs on stand. However, delivering his short ruling, magistrate presiding over this case, Stanford Ngola, rejected the admission of the said documents. The matter has since been adjourned to 9th May 2023 for continuation of defense. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Welcome back. You are watching the Camnet Breakfast Show with me, Patrick Soko, and Shalon Kanimbola. We were looking at some of the stories that were making the headlines on the Camnet menus as of last evening. Interesting stories there from the court brought by Miriam Kaimba. A story pertaining to JBM there. As usual, those are big names in the political fraternity, and they continue to make the rounds and the headlines at the court premises.
At the court grounds. That's where they are doing their politics from. We surely hope that these cases are done and they are back to being who they are in full time. And GBM, Patrick, is part of the contenders for the Patriotic Front presidential position, and equally Chimbakambwili, and of late we've seen them get very cozy together, visiting the former head of state, having meals together.
Yeah, after snitching on each other. Yes,
so we are wondering what type of friendship or relationship it is, and we hopefully after the elections, inter-party elections, they will be still friends. And
I doubt
whatever they are skipping.
I doubt that, but I don't know about the genuineness of their reconciliation. Because I heard that, for example, I'm just giving an example. If Mundubire wins, Inengabe SG wa Mundubire, you know, those kind of talk. Now, I don't know if they can swallow their pride. That's a question that
I don't think they would, because literally the waters have been tested. For me, that's what I think. Because even me at the moment, if I'm trying to contest for any position somewhere in the media circles, I would test the waters and see to say, am I going to win or not? So that I prepare myself psychologically. And if I do that, I should be able to even accept any position that I'm given by the person that has been elected into the position I was vying for. However, if I don't want, I just have to be quiet.
That's so.
The moment I start saying it, that is the beginning of problems.
And you know, this is a big political party.
It's the beginning
These people have followers, Sharon. Yes. So it means followers are also saying that us we won't go.
Yes.
We won't go that route.
We won't go that route. So it's literally a lot of confusion in the party. Mao Samba equally as well seems to be alone in the party. We haven't seen him with any other groupings. The way these other guys are bonding slowly. Munduwile is bonding with other people, seeing Emmanuel Mwamba also moving along and attending interviews on different media platforms, giving interviews. But of late, they've been very quiet, almost all of them, apart from Munduwile, who's been very consistent, commenting on different issues happening in the country. However, the past 3-4 days, he's been quiet. But I'm sure on Sunday, he will issue something, as usual. As usual,
in case you just also want to join the conversation, we are discussing the purportedly pending deregistration of the Patriotic Front by the Registrar of Societies. You can give us your perspective on what you think about this particular intervention by the Registrar of Society, because they feel the PF hasn't been meeting its statutory obligations, and hence they risk being deregistered as a political party in Zambia. However, there's been a various perspective on this subject, and we also want to get your views on the same subject, on what you think should be the way forward. What do you think the PF needs to do? And what do you think the Registrar of Society is on firm ground for making those recommendations? And they did give them, is it 7 days ultimatum?
7 days
to
ultimatum.
exculpate themselves. So we can start getting those calls, madam.
Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, thank you. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
This is Mr. Mianda calling you from Paloma this morning.
All right, Mr. Mianda, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Let me take the issue of the patriotic flag. Patriotic flag has been a political party of disorganized individuals from the very beginning. PF, what was keeping them is that in the government, what was keeping PF in shape was the government, and not individuals who are called PF officials. So at the moment, the registrar of the fair is saying that they will register a patriotic flag. And then people start to get that headline. But that is what they have gotten, registering of patriotic flag. For instance, if you report there for work, and you are properly dressed, and they say that go home and dress properly. If you don't do that, you're going to find after people just you. No. What you have to do, you just have to go home, dress properly, like the way you're looking there. Very smart. Very neat. All the viewers, I think they are just admiring your dressing there.
Thank you so
much. Go and put your documents properly, and then you go back. Now, just look like they are central and so much. They want, they just start, no, the people behind this, it's UPNT. No. Wakati mapepa ni yangu, inobino, tunakukula mtengelikana mtipate jana. Now, just running up and down. Oh, put your papers properly. That is what the registrar of that one. Only 3 individuals there are showing instead of 10. Only 3 are showing. Where are the 7? So PF is disorganized from the way it go. What was keeping them in shape is government. As I'm talking to you right now, people have started, they have forgot for that there is a political party called the PF, because PF is gone. Let them put the papers in order, they go back to the registrar of society and do the meeting. What is happening in PF is none of our business. Now, away from that, no one wants to register PF. There is nothing like that. But if they don't put their papers in order, they will be flushed out. Because it's the law. That is what the law says. And they have to that law. And that law has to be implemented. Away from that. It is just yesterday, when we are talking about this issue of civil servants. Every political party across the world which has been removed from power, it is because of the negligence in terms of operation and discharging of duty by civil servants. Especially if political players that are governing that country at that particular time are relevant. Now, what happened yesterday in Lusaka there and then area, I watched it on your news, I think. And again, just listen to and played that clip where they demolished the structures for those youth.
Yes.
Yes.
No, you see, it's very unfortunate, extremely unfortunate, that in this time and era, where people are learning health and skills are trying to put food on the table, you can conduct yourself in such a manner against people. There are not the councils that we have in this country are a shame and a badge of discipline. Because they can be watching you, you're constructing a house, after an illegal base, or pick a blueprint, or work on a window of life, they'll be watching you. They come at night and be watching. Now, the energy that they get, paying the police officers, paying the bulldozers, that's a simple energy, but they can take a motor of Bangeda maidapa bali bakale sasa niko zituvana mshamushe hapa kwa mimi mnanga nimeite sivyo megese. Now according to them they are saying that they have been trying to communicate with those people and those people have been not showing up to their office. This is the problem in Uganda. I wonder what the people are doing in office. People go to studio kamera mwingine. All the journalists you call them, we have to carry in office room. I don't have news to air on your TV station.
All right.
All right.
I think
Mr. Mienda there.
Ending on the question for us, Mr. Mienda. Thank you so much from Kalomo there. We appreciate your viewership. You too can have your say on what we are discussing this morning and some of the stories that we have zoomed. Mr. Mienda, they are very categorical, Patrick, talking about the Patriotic Front. It was a disorganized
just
party
like
from
you
the
stated, yeah, in terms of the law being the law. Mr. Mienda just repeated what you just said.
This actually speaks to the fact that people have been calling this political party disorganized because there is no way it can be operating without having all those things in place. What are they trying to do? For me, I'm against the issue of by-elections. I'm very against that. It's a huge expense on the country's coffers. Of course, probably the budget is there at some point, but we can't afford
Could
that.
there be a deliberate ploy to ensure that we go for any other elections. To test the waters?
I'm honestly not willing to be in a campaign mode again. No,
but
I think
it is time to work.
It's time to work.
It's time to work.
Allow people to work.
We can't be on an election
throughout the 5 years. You're just in an election zone. You're just campaigning throughout. There's just pockets of violence throughout, because you know where there are people. And you know, the head of state also will be required to go to these parliamentary by-election areas, constituencies, to just help beef up support for these candidates. No, come on, I can't even begin to imagine us having these by-elections.
Exactly, yeah.
I think it would be too much for us as a country. So the plea really, or the call, goes to the PF. Do the needful.
Yeah.
Put your house in order. I think this is day 3 from the time that the ultimatum was given.
Where's the secretariat?
Well, imagine.
Is it?
And you know, there was a list that was circulating for the office bearers. I think yesterday, Given Luwinda appeared on one of the radio stations here in Lusaka. And he said, no, we produced all the names for the office bearers. We have the documents and stuff. And the list circulated. And among those top people was the former President Edgar Lungu. Is he still an office bearer?
Those are questions. Those are the challenges.
That is the list they produced. This is the list, and these are the names that are at the registrar of societies. But then the first name on the list was former President Edgar Lungu. I was like, okay, this man has resigned active politics, and I don't think he needs to be. Does he need to be? I stand to be corrected. Does he need to belong to the
Patriotic be owning the party?
Does he need to be there?
I don't think he needs to, because that means that he should be owning the party.
That means he's
among
still
people
active.
who are owning that political party.
That means he's still active.
So I think the position can be relinquished to somebody else.
And allow himself to be the father of the nation, as many have called.
Yeah.
To be free for everyone, to be welcoming to everybody.
To be not to be aligned to any political party.
But when he's aligned, he's attached to the Greens, the Reds will never go there. They'll feel uncomfortable to
even people who are neutral.
People who are neutral, like me, who fail to go there because we think when I go there,
they say you are a green. You are the Greens.
I will be cited and be told, Uyu, wow, you know, things like that, of which that is a list that any journalist wants to be cited.
Yeah.
Let's look at one of the stories, Patrick. One of the people that have been very, very instrumental in terms of politics in this country was graduating yesterday, Dora Celia, and she made quite an entrance at the University of Lusaka, where she was graduating with a doctorate. Among other notables were also graduating. So let's look at this story where the University of Zambia Vice Chancellor Professor Pinalo Chifanakeni has urged graduates to utilize their qualification to create opportunities and add value to society. Addressing the graduates at the 13th graduation ceremony in Lusaka Wednesday, Professor Chifanakeni says education has become competitive and that those who have been privileged to graduate should not just get handouts but be creative in the forefront of creating employment for the local people. I think Professor Chifanakeni has been very, very, very Patrick straight and unshaken on this. I attended last year's graduation, and I think the other one, he's been very clear to say when you graduate from here, don't go and sit, you wait for jobs.
Go and create jobs.
Go and create jobs. Work for yourself. Don't go and sit there, because it will not make sense. You're graduating from University of Lusaka. You go and sit on it and just wait. No, you start crying, you join the bandwagon. The education is competitive nowadays. There's so many people graduating. Look at Honorable Dora Celia. She's reached the highest, one of the highest offices in this country, but she decided to go back to school. She graduated yesterday. Let's look at the story.
years of laboring, sleepless nights and sacrifice, over 900 students from the University of Lusaka have reaped the sacrifice of their labor and obtained their certifications in different categories. The colorful ceremony becomes the 13th graduation ceremony the institution is holding and is being held under the theme, The Value of Graduation. UNILA's Vice-Chancellor, Professor Pinalo Chifanikeni, has since implored the graduates to not only rely on handouts but utilize their graduation to create opportunities that add value to society and the corporate world.
We are experiencing graduates who are actually becoming dependent on their parents, dependent on handouts from government. The trends need to change. We need graduates who are innovative, creative, and are easily adaptable to change. As we go out there, and as in the song of our President, His Excellency, I engage them that we will be innovative.
And UNILA's Chancellor, Dr. Caleb Fundanga, congratulated the graduates for reaching the crossing line, which he says requires a lot of sacrifice.
We also know that society is changing, and we are also trying to change, because we know that if we don't change, we will become irrelevant very soon.
And guest of honor, Sani Zulu, encouraged the and to always stand out in all they do.
Man does not see like God sees. Man looks at the outside. Employers and business partners are men. They are not God. They will not look at your heart. They will look at how you are presenting yourself.
Among prominent persons that graduated is former Minister of Information Dora Silia, with a doctorate of Philosophy in Development Studies, Chief Nyampande of Lumfusa District, with Executive MBA in Leadership and Development Studies, and in Mporokoso Member of Parliament, Brian Mondewile, who's obtained his Masters of Law, Constitutional and Administrative in his absentia.
Taking up this course, the Executive MBA in Leadership and Culture, was important to me when I looked at the areas that it covered. It covered sustainability, it covered CSR, it covered culture and politics. And I was a little bit disappointed when I got a B for culture and politics. I expected as a traditional leader I'd get an A, but it just goes to show that there's a lot that we don't know and we don't understand.
They say education is the greatest equalizer, and these graduates are a step to equalizing with those who have gone before them. Prudence Chota reporting for Camnet TV News.
Government that is going to be taxing citizens through everything that they have. Our focus is to say, let Zambian people be part of the entrepreneurial development family and run businesses of their own. Therefore, the private sector is the backbone of our economy. Government, therefore, remains committed to ensuring that we implement measures and policies that will reduce the cost of doing business in the country as we promote government's vision of building a private sector-driven economy. To this effect, the government of the Republic of Zambia, through the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry, has reduced fees applicable for selected services and has removed some category of business from paying fees under the following acts of Parliament. Ladies and gentlemen, everything that I'm doing here is done through the legal framework that has been provided. Number one, ladies and gentlemen, I need you to understand Companies Act number 10 of the year 2017. A. Fees for the increase in share capital have been reduced from 2.5% of the increase to only 1.5%. There is an opportunity. B. Application for name reservation has been reduced by 50% from 200 kwacha to 100 kwacha. Ladies and gentlemen, many of our brothers and sisters have been failing just to apply for a reservation of a name, and we have decided to reduce this by 50%. Other fees have equally been reduced by an average of 50% on
inform the nation that there are some debtors, or there are people who owe the government money. There are institutions that owe the government money. We now have these chambers in provinces. Please, if you know you owe the government money, those who are contractors, sometimes paid and you haven't finished doing the work, or you have abandoned the work as it was a trend, please, we are coming for you, not as enemies, but as good friends who want you to bring back what you took from the citizens of this country, and without offering service. If you know you supply the air and money was paid and no air came, please be good enough, be patriotic, and pay back and bring back the money. If you have consumed it and it's not there and you got property, please just be good before we come to you. Just surrender yourself and come and report and indicate how you intend to give back the money to the Zambians.
For the crossing points, we have sent 2.2 to Choma. We've also sent a 3 million to work on a crossing point in Ndola, Wanamkubwa area. There's a place where we have the bridge which has been causing quite a number of challenges. We hope that this can be worked on as soon as possible by the council. We've also sent amounts of up to 2 million kwacha to Serenje Council to work on crossing points, that is on the Kababa Bridge and Pemba Bridge in Serenje. We've also sent slightly around 1.7, 1.8 million to Chasefu Council to work on Kulikuli crossing points and to install culverts at Katali. So these are the amounts of money which we have sent to various local authorities. My appeal to the local authorities is that as you receive this money, let us ensure that we commence on the works as quickly as possible so that the issues or the challenges that the people faced in the previous rainy season are not apparent when we get into the rainy season of 2023. Crossing points particularly must be worked on as a matter of agency so that we ease the lives of the people within these particular areas. And for the markets and bus stations, they too must be given the attention that they deserve. Remember, we now have resources independent of CDF, which we also need to ensure that we drive the developmental agenda and ensure that as many people as possible are taken off the streets into the market so that they operate in a form of.
There you have it. Those are some of the stories that we ran yesterday and setting the tone for today. Patrick, as we wind up.
Yeah, interesting. In the background, I was talking to my young friend who's a young retiree, and it's funny. But I hope he manages to.
I hope he manages to get that money. We want it. We want the money to be put on the table so that he can smell it.
You can imagine he's only about in the mid-30s, but he's a
retiree who has not gotten his benefits.
But I think the provision for President Hakainde Hichilema for us to have partial benefits can save him a big deal. Because I can now go and say, okay, from this time.
45 what we need to do is to advocate for the years to be reduced at least. Otherwise, 45 for some of us.
At least 40, yeah, life begins at 40.
Yeah, maybe.
It's there, yeah. Well, it's still energetic. Anyway, 45, you're still energetic. Yeah, interesting. So I think we had an interesting program for today, Thursday. Governance, policy and politics is what we focus on the Thursday edition of the Camnet Breakfast Show. Me, Patrick Soko, and Sharon Kadimbula. And tomorrow you are going to have a Prudence Chota with a business for breakfast. And this is where we have to, unfortunately, Sharon, we have to excuse the screen.
Indeed. Thank you so much for watching Camnet TV. Join us again tomorrow. Good morning.